Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve podcast takes a close-up look at controversial subject matter and hot-button topics, adding humor, cynicism, and a dose of reality to the stuff we're not supposed to talk about anymore. Politics, religion, sex, gender identity, violence, corruption. Nothing is left unturned in this lighthearted approach to information dissemination. The world is experiencing a pandemic of cowardice. 80% of people do not believe the craziness they've been coerced to agree with. Grab a friend, grab a beverage, and dive in with us as we take on the narrative and blast social stigmas with truth. Here are your hosts, Patriots Ray Amanat and Steve Reed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in social media land or TV land. Welcome to Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. Of course, I am Ray Amanat back in sunny Port Richey, Florida. And my co-host, Mr. Steve Reed, somewhere in northern Texas in an undisclosed place. Hopefully one day he'll let us know kind of where he's at. I don't know.
Nah. Secret location.
Well, welcome to the show, Steve.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So Ray, anything going on?
Oh, a lot. I mean, I just did a presentation. I was invited to a small group of people with disabilities. So I had to adapt my training to somebody that only had one arm, adapt my training to somebody leg and couldn't use her other leg, and people that were hearing impaired and visually impaired. So it was a very methodical approach that I had to take to help each one of them learn what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and when should they rely on other people for help.
Well, Ray, that's very fitting with your special needs as well. I know you fit in. Hey, by the way, your internet connection is weak today. So you are freezing up a little bit, but that's okay. I'll cover for you.
Okay, so, there's nothing I can do about my.
Yeah, I understand. So that's just a heads up. So if you go blank, then I'll just cover. I'll bail you out again.
Okay, always as always.
So so that was last week, right?
That was Monday.
Oh, it was Monday. Oh, that's cool. Last week you were around. You decided to take the week off. You were schlepping the, whatever, hanging out on the beach or something.
No, last week I was a caregiver for a friend of the family. And my uncle wanted me to go with him in case something happened to him. Because it was the blind leading the blind. He's in his 80s. His friend is in his 80s. And he wanted me to be there in case something happened, and lo and behold, a lot happened that it was a good thing that I was there.
That's
it was a trip to the ER, a trip to he had a fall in the bathroom, which is one of the most common places people fall and get hurt. And if we were there, if we were not there, he would probably not have made it. So fortunately, we were able to check on him and make sure he was okay. And not to mention a flood that we had to deal with in the house.
We are blessed. Our audience was blessed to have as our guest host, Miss Debbie Schofield.
She did a fantastic job.
An amazing job. She was so much better to co-host with than you. So
boy, you're just on a roll.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ray, my wife and I went to see the new movie, Sound of Freedom, over the weekend. Yes. And I know you saw it and Debbie saw it. And I got to tell you, I knew a lot of the things that transpire, not in as much detail. And obviously, this was a dramatic presentation, but it's based on Tim Ballard's real life experience and what he is doing and has been doing to rescue kids out of trafficking scenarios. So what I thought we would do, Ray, is we'd take a few minutes. I want to play the video clip, the promo or trailer clip for Sound of Freedom. And then let's talk about some of the things. You've got a lot more experience in trafficking and how to protect people and some of the backstories on that. So I'm going to be asking you a bunch of questions.
Absolutely.
So, let me play this video clip. This is pretty powerful.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade, and soon it's gonna pass the drug trade. Because you can sell a bag of cocaine one time to a child 5 to 10 times a day. God's children are not for sale.
How long you been doing this?
12 years now.
How many pedophiles you got?
288.
How many kids you found?
Timoteo, tú rescatas niños, ¿verdad? ¿Puedes ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana?
Te lo prometo.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
Which means she'll disappear for good. Imagine walking into her room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do?
You quit your job, and you go and rescue those kids.
So at this moment, she could be a block down the road, or she could be in Moscow, Bangkok, LA. She's a major operator.
It's all rebel territory. No one goes in. Not the army, not the police, not us.
What if this was your daughter?
There's no Marine unit coming.
You're on your own. This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
When God tells you what to do, you cannot hesitate.
An estimated 2 million children are trafficked every year, and we can help them. Sound of Freedom is based on a true story about real-life heroes saving kids from the dark world of child trafficking. We know this is heartbreaking and it hurts to look at, but the first step in helping these children is hearing their story. Not enough people know this problem exists, and even fewer people are willing to do anything about it. Our goal is to inspire 2 million people to attend the film's opening weekend, to represent the 2 million trafficked children around the world. To spread the word, Angel Studios set up a Pay It Forward program where you can pay for someone else's ticket who might not otherwise see it. If the ticket price is stopping you from attending, claim your free ticket at angel.com/freedom. Sound of Freedom opens the week of July 4th. Every parent, every adult, and every teenager in America should be there to see it. If millions of us come together today to see this film, we could propel the movement to help save millions of children around the world. And you can send the message that God's children are no longer for sale.
Exactly.
Well, you're looking at almost my life's work when I do child safety seminars. It's not just dealing with bullying. It's dealing with child predators. It's dealing with adults who are grooming children. It's dealing with child abuse. child neglect. That those are all things that can lead to child trafficking.
Yeah.
And it's I'm beating a drum, and a lot of times, a lot of places that I go to, I fall on deaf ears, where people go, "Oh, it's not my problem," or they don't take it seriously. So, yes, I am glad this movie came out. In my opinion, because of what I do for a living, I wish they would have taken it even further. But you only have so much time that you can put into a movie.
Yeah, yeah. There were, Ray, as we talked today, I'm gonna share 3 different scenes that were probably the most impactful for me, and I want some feedback from you as well. But
Sure.
we don't realize this was just 2 kids that they were focusing on out of the
Right.
millions of children. It's not just about sex trafficking; it's about human trafficking of all different types, and we'll talk about some of those other types of trafficking as well as we go through this. But I'm appalled. I'm appalled.
And it's happening under our noses. It's happening, in my opinion, if we want to put the opinion,
Yeah, don't have to.
it's happening within our own government.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. Are you happy? Yes, this is an opinion-based program based on our opinions, but obviously this is based on fact of what's going on. Yeah.
And more facts will come out.
Yeah.
That will pretty much prove our opinions true.
Hey, Ray, that's the sad part.
Which is sad. Yeah.
That really is the sad part about all of this stuff that's going on, that there is so much of this that's happening that either people have turned a blind eye, or they don't know about it, or they just don't want to talk about it. They sweep it under the carpet. It's not impacting me, etc. All of those kinds of things. And this is just one little piece in a huge puzzle of corruption that's going on around the world. And,
Yes.
and it is absolutely insane. So right, based on what we saw in the movie, and again, folks, if you're not up to what we're talking about, the movie Sound of Freedom, it was put out by an organization, Angel Studios. The movie was actually finished 5 years ago, but they couldn't get the big production companies to release it.
It was on the Disney floor.
Yes.
And Disney refused to make the movie themselves.
Well, so what the producers did was they decided to go in the direction of crowdfunding, and they raised the millions of dollars in order to get it into select theaters around the country. And it poetic justice. So Disney released the most recent version of Indiana Jones, and spent millions of dollars to produce and release that movie. And Sound of Freedom kicked its butt.
Yes.
In a big way. And so people don't want to see what Disney's doing these days. Because Disney has been giving people, I hate to say it, but giving Americans the middle finger. And Sound of Freedom is a revolt in some ways against Disney and some of the stuff that's going on. Ray, I saw a video clip this morning. It was a sheriff in Florida, and I don't know where he is. I'm guessing he's down in the Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. It was a very long clip, but he was talking about an operation that they put together not too long ago, where they were arresting people on child trafficking charges all over the state of Florida. And they were working together with other sheriff's departments. And the odd thing was, several of the people that they were talking about, that the sheriff was talking about, was employees of Disney.
Wow.
Yeah, I wish I'd had time.
Go figure that.
Yeah, I know. But I wish I'd had time to look at that, to edit the video and so forth. But folks, take some time, look for video. Sheriff in Florida. Again, I think.
So here's the contrast. Here's the contrast between Florida and California. Florida is arresting pedophiles, arresting people that are trafficking kids. California, they had brought up a bill to turn into law to create harsher punishments for people that do child trafficking, and it was flushed down the toilet. I got to get my toilet flushing sound. I don't have that. It was flushed down the toilet by who? By 6 Democrats that decided to vote that down. 2 Republicans voted for it to have harsher penalties. 6 Democrats said no, so the bill is gone. Flushed down the toilet. It's ridiculous.
Ray, do we need to go to a commercial break?
Yes, because I'm steaming. Hi, welcome to Heroes in Action. I'm Ray Amanat, founder and creator of this training system. I originally made it so that everyone can train for free. We have programs for kids, for women, families, and businesses. I'm an author, speaker, and educator on everything that has to do with violence and bullying prevention education. If you'd like more information about who we are and what our programs are, please go to our website at heroesinaction.us or give me a call if you have any questions at 727-314-2534. We hope to see you here to train.
How appropriate.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a nonprofit organization, or not me, but Heroes in Action is a nonprofit organization. I just happen to have created it and run it. And if you want me to come out to your area, I mean, my phone should be lighting up with requests. Hey, can you do a seminar? Can you do a seminar? Can you do a seminar on a nationwide level? Now, we are a small nonprofit. We don't have a large budget. So in order to cover our expenses for traveling, everything that we do is free, except for if we have to travel. All my speaking fees, all my seminar fees, there is none. It's free. Just my travel, hotel, rental car, whatever, to be able to get there. And then everything I do from then on, if you want me to be there a week, a month, however long you want me, you've got my time for free. Put me to work. But we work off of donations. You can go to our website, heroesinaction.us. You can use this QR code if you're able to visually see our show right now, to go to our webpage and make a one-time or recurring donation. That money is used 100% specifically for doing our training seminars and our lectures for raising awareness on what people can do to not be victims of any form of bullying or violence, which includes trafficking.
Noble cause. I greatly appreciate what you're doing, Ray. It's after seeing the movie, you and I have talked about trafficking and talked about bullying and so forth on numerous occasions, but this brought it to life, saying this movie. So, folks, if you have not seen the movie Sound of Freedom, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go see the movie. and it's still in theaters right now. So you got to see the movie. So,
Absolutely.
Anyway, Ray, I'm disturbed by how the trafficking starts, and what they depicted in the movie was something that a lot of parents aren't aware of. How somebody would come into a home and do some grooming. We've got all these great things. We can make you a Hollywood star, and you could be in the front cover magazine, et cetera, et cetera. All of those kinds of things. But Ray, come on, that's not really happening, is it?
There's a lot of different ways, and that's just one way that they have access to your children. Predominantly,
right. Come on, I got to interrupt you. That's just happening in Honduras. That's not happening in the United States.
No, it's happening all over the world.
No way. No, come on, Ray. It's all fantasy. It's all make believe.
That's what people want to think. People want to think that they live in a safe neighborhood, a safe community, that they're sending their kids to a safe school. You've seen the cars with the little stickers on it that show the parent, the mother, the children, and all the activities. Yeah. That is a trafficker looks for that and sees, they've got 4 children, they've got 3 children. Let me follow them. Let me go see where they are. Let me study that household. Let me see if it's a broken household, if the kids are happy, if the kids are sad, if there's a single parent family or whatever else, and let me offer this child a better life. So a lot of times it's not a snatch and grab where the child is physically taken from the family. Yeah. It's coercion, it's grooming, it's building a friendship, building a trust, and then brainwashing the child into thinking that they're going to have a better life being with the groomer than with their own family. Then the child goes missing.
Yeah. Ray, that's insane. So who's doing this?
Well, anyone that is wanting to make money, just like the promo video that you had showed, trafficking has gone to number 1. It used to be drugs was number 1, selling firearms was number 2, and human trafficking was number 3. Trafficking is now number 1 because, yes, if I sell you a gun or if I sell you drugs, that's a one-time sale. But for a child, I can sell that child over and over and over and over again until the child, runs away, commits suicide, overdoses on drugs, whatever they're doing to that child. And, it's not, I know we've got a lot of different questions to go to, but that we want to ask. I don't want to give you all the answers right now, but
Ray, see, here's another side of this whole thing. Why is it our government is not doing something to protect our kids?
Our government had a whole Just Say No to Drugs program nationwide. Just Say No to Drugs.
Right.
And it's a big failure.
Totally.
They can have, the amount of fentanyl and drugs that's coming into our country right now because of open borders is ridiculous. People are dying more now because of drugs than they were way back when they had the Just Say No to Drugs program.
Ray, I got to challenge you on that. Secretary Mayorkas says that the southern border is under control, that it's not open.
Let's go to the southern border, and you're closer to it than I am, and let's videotape what's actually going on and prove him wrong.
Wait a second, Ray. Are you?
What does your own governor say?
Ray, are you saying that Secretary Mayorkas is lying to us?
I think a lot of politicians in this current administration is lying to us.
So that would mean that the guy that's occupying the White House right now is lying to us as well, because he says the border is safe.
He says it. His press secretary says it. Everyone says it, but they're all
Ray,
blind.
you're telling me that they're lying to Ray? I am devastated. I am crushed. I don't know what to do. How am I going to survive the day to know that they are lying to me? I thought the government was for me. Enough of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so trafficking in general, not just sex trafficking, but trafficking in general is rampant coming through the southern border.
You have it for labor. You have it for labor. You have it for organ harvesting. I mean, it's not just sexualizing a child.
Yeah.
There are other reasons why trafficking is occurring. And people need to wake up. People need to wake the cluck up.
Oh, Ray, my apologies. I forgot to get my buddy off the show.
Wake the cluck up, America.
So, I'm really annoyed, becoming even more and more annoyed. I had a client several years ago that I was working with. He was a teenager that he was dealing with some of the aftermath of his brother that was in his early 20s. He had died from a fentanyl overdose. And the whole family was devastated by this whole thing. But this younger brother was having a rough time dealing with it. And that's just one person. But you look at the other people, the tens of thousands of people that don't know how to handle, whether it's the fentanyl issues or the trafficking issues or the sex issues or whatever it is. They don't know how to handle it. So what do you recommend?
Well, I mean, I saw a video about a guy that showed how easy it was for him to get a child to walk away with him using a puppy. And he did it to a kid over and over and over again. But what he didn't do, and this is what irks me, is what could you have said, what could you have done to have prevented your child from walking away? What advice can you give your child?
Yeah.
It's real simple. If you want me to, let's say you're the groomer, you're the pedophile, and you bring a puppy to me. Most kids are going to be like, puppy, yeah, I love puppies. And then he would say, do you want to see my other puppies? That's where the child needs to know to go immediately to the parent, babysitter, guardian, grandparent, whoever is watching them, teacher, and ask permission. Can I go see these other puppies with this person? So that the adult that's there to protect the child can say, we don't know that person's a traitor. Take out their cell phone, take a picture of that person, take a picture of the car, the license plate, so that if anything else happens in that neighborhood or community to another child, you as the adult could at least have a person of interest that you can give to law enforcement and say, this person approached my child, and they're probably the ones that approach other kids themselves. It's ask permission. Can I? Do you like to go to Six Flags? This is where we say safe or unsafe questions. Yeah. Do you like Disney World? Yeah, I like Disney World. Do you want to go to Disney World? I have to ask my mom or dad.
Yeah.
Permission. That's bringing the attention to them so they can deal with the adult that's trying to coerce their child into walking away with them.
I don't know what else to say.
It's sad we have to do that.
Yeah, it's sick. It is sick. We're living in a sick and perverted world when people prey on kids like this. Ray, I've got my ideas on how we punish the people that do this. Castration would be one of the first things.
There's got to be harsher ways than that that I can come up with.
Well, that would be the first. That would be the first. So, okay, if you're using your computer to traffic kids, to find kids, and to find all of the child pornography and so forth, okay, we'll just start removing fingers. Now, folks, my opinion,
we have laws in the books, but our
we're
government
not
is not
them.
enforcing the laws.
Exactly.
They're letting them go. They arrest them and let them go.
Yeah.
Well, they're not really doing any harm. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Ray.
So you had a question, where are these people coming from? Because it's becoming so prevalent in social media, it's becoming normalized by TV shows and movies.
Yeah.
Look at all the videos, video games. Because it's being normalized, it's letting people know that, hey, it's a cool thing to do now, and they're coming from everywhere. They're not just coming from over the border into our country. People that have had some type of a screw loose here in our own country are seeing it grandized, and they're like, well, yeah, I guess it's okay, and they're just doing what they think everyone else is doing. That's now the new norm.
Ray, you may recall we had one of our early guests. His name was Kevin Kirchen. And Kevin's backstory, without going into a lot of detail, is he was an exotic dancer. He was a Chippendale, and he got involved in some really seedy stuff for a long time. And we had him on talking about some trafficking things and what social media is doing to our young people. And he had told me a story. I don't remember if we talked about this while we had him on the show, but he told me a story about somebody that he was talking to, that the dad had a 13-year-old daughter, and somebody approached this 13-year-old daughter, said, you come out to California, I think you would be great in some of the movies that we're producing here in Hollywood. And the dad put his daughter on an airplane by herself. And I don't know what the rest of the story was. I don't know if the daughter ever came back. I don't know if it was legitimate, what it was. But obviously the allure of you're going to be in the movies, or you can go to Disneyland, or you can go to Six Flags, or you can go to whatever. All of that allure is so tempting to not only the children, but the parents as well. Now, as I was watching the movie, there was one scene or several scenes that I'm thinking, what was going through that dad's mind when he went back to pick up his kids and nobody was in that office or apartment or whatever it was?
Right.
What do you think the guilt that he was dealing with for months until Tim Ballard was able to rescue his daughter?
Right.
I can't imagine. I just can't imagine.
For all of you out there that have young kids, think about the panic you go through when they get lost in a shopping mall or in a grocery store.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh my gosh, where's my child? Where's my child? Where's my child? But then you ultimately are able to find your child. What if you weren't able to find your child? What type of panic would you be going through?
Yeah.
It's what type of grief, why wasn't I doing the right thing? There's so many times that I see parents let their kids walk way far in front of them or lag way far behind them to where they're out of arm's reach to pull them close to their body in the event of somebody creepy approaching their child. If it makes you creepy, it should make your child creepy, but kids don't know any better at this stage. What's good, what's bad? That's the big part of, what's safe and what's unsafe language, what's safe and what's unsafe behavior, what's safe and what's unsafe touching. those are the things that you need to be teaching your kids so they know, is this a safe or unsafe person that I'm talking to or in the presence of right now? And what are my next steps, if they are unsafe, for me to do to get out of this situation on a verbal basis and then on a physical basis?
Ray, there's a lot of stuff in the news these days about some disgusting things that are happening, whether it's in our schools or in our libraries, where you've got transgenders that are going into these settings with young children, and they're doing drag queen story hour. And the librarian or who's ever responsible for that, the teachers, the principals, etc., whoever is allowing this garbage to go on is complicit in grooming children.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even realize it. Or maybe they do realize it. Maybe, I don't know what they're thinking about.
It's under the guise of diversity. It's under the guise of being accepting of everything in our culture, in our communities.
Which is perverted. Which is evil. Pure evil. Absolutely, totally.
We have to be accepting of everyone.
No, we don't.
Including criminals. I guess we have to be accepting of rapists and drug dealers and whatever else, because that's the way our government is going.
I'm sorry.
When you go to all left-wing states that are catch and release, they arrest them, and then there's no bail needed for them. They can just walk out on their own. Those states are crime-ridden, and they're turning into cesspools. I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah. No, you're not sorry to say it. That's truth. So that is the truth. But, Ray, we've got to pay some more bills. And I want to share an opportunity to be able to help people through this problem.
Life isn't always sunshine and roses. Sometimes it's full of roadblocks. The kind that aren't as easy to fix as filling a hole or repairing a car. Personal roadblocks are another thing altogether. Why do I feel stuck? The same things anger me every time. Why am I doing this anyway? Fixing it yourself can be frustrating and confusing. And if more than one person is involved, DIY might mean destroy it yourself. Maybe it's time for another solution. Steve Reed shines a light on your roadblocks and helps you find the best way forward for you. Stephen Reed Ministries, bringing light and hope for a victorious life. To overcome your roadblocks, schedule an appointment with Steve Reed today.
Ray, in my coaching practice, I deal with people that have emotional trauma of all different sorts. And a lot of times the clients that I'm working with are carrying things that happened to them 10, 20, 30, 40 years before, when they were young children. I had one client not too long ago when he was 5 years old. When he was 3 years old, his father was an alcoholic, very abusive, and literally put cigarettes out on his arms and legs. The guy's sick, okay? Well, not only was his father sick, and his father moved out of the house shortly thereafter that, but his mother was sick as well, also had a drinking problem, and he recalled one incident when he was about 5 where his mother threw a chair at him. Now, this client was in his 60s when I was working with him, and he'd been carrying that crap for 55 years. And that's just one client that I've helped get past some of the emotional trauma. And how many people do you think he impacted with this negative stuff that he was carrying through that 50 plus years?
But here's the thing, people come to you, and please go to Stephen Reed Ministries .com for more information on how Steve can help you help yourself. But getting back to, people that are having problems, they come to you for fixing the problem. Mm-hmm. If they don't come to you, you have a child that is a victim of those problems. And they don't know where to go to. They don't know how to get help. So when somebody sees that, okay, here's a child that's coming from a broken household, and this is typically a groomer, they look at that as dollar signs, cha-ching, well, let me befriend this child because this child doesn't know where to go. The parents aren't getting the help that they need to have a happy, sustainable family. So they start grooming the child into thinking that they're going to have a better life. And the child more or less gives their own family the middle finger, walks away with this groomer, and then the groomer starts introducing them to the world of sex or drugs through watching porn or whatever else, and says, look, if you like everything I've given you, all the nice clothing, all the jewelry or whatever else, I've done a lot for you. You're going to have to start doing stuff for me. And you're just going to have to meet with this guy and do whatever he says. And that's when the shit hits the fan.
Ray, I can't help myself, but I got to do some shameless self-promotion. Sure. So several years ago, I authored a book. It's called Restored by Grace. And the book is all about 10 stories of people that I have worked with over the years. I've changed all the names and some of the circumstances. I've got 2 stories in particular that are in there that are related to the whole grooming process. One of them, I call the girl Candy. Now, when I was working with Candy, she was in her mid-20s, 23, 24 years old. When she was 12 or 13 years old, she was being raised in a blended family. Her mom and dad divorced several years before. Mom got remarried, and her stepdad was a nice guy, hard worker. The problem came in that one day, dad was gone, her mom was gone, and her older brother, her stepbrother, was gone as well. And one of her stepbrother's friends came over, and long story real short, he started introducing her to drugs and alcohol and molesting and raping. She ended up, he kidnapped her, took her to another city where he sold her into slavery, into sex trade. And when she finally got to me, she had been arrested, she had gotten cleaned up, but she still saw herself as a prostitute, as an exotic dancer, as an alcoholic and a drug addict, etc. When I finished working with her, and it was grueling in working with her, but when I finished, I asked her who you are, and her response was, "I am a beautiful princess." But I got to tell you, that was probably the most difficult client that I have ever worked with in the 30 years that I've been working with people. And another one that when he was a 10-year-old.
I got a question. When you heard her say those 2 words, how did that make you feel?
Which 2 words?
Beautiful princess.
I felt like a proud dad. I was so relieved to watch her as she morphed from being horrible, and the fear that she was dealing with. And I share that story because I think, okay, so Tim Ballard and his team of people have rescued kids out of the sex trade and all of the trafficking stuff, and they're back home with dad or mom or whomever.
Their journey is not over.
Oh, it's just beginning.
Yeah.
And there's so much devastation, emotional devastation, that these kids are going to have to deal with for the rest of their lives in some cases. So they need additional help, not just the safety in getting them back with their families, but the emotional baggage they're going to be dealing with for the rest of their lives. It is so devastating.
So parents out there, grandparents, aunts and uncles that are out there that see their nieces, nephews, or whatever, things to look for if a child is being groomed. Are they getting new clothing, new jewelry, new shoes, new whatever else from people you don't know? Where did you get that from? I'd like to meet them. Those are questions you need to be asking. Is there a change in behavior of your child where they go from wanting to be a part of the family to they continue isolating themselves more and more from the family? They're spending more time in their room, or they say, I want to go for a walk. And who are they going to meet when they go for that walk? Exactly. You have to ask questions. You have to get involved in your child's life to be able to rule out, is my child being groomed or not? Who is my child talking to on a computer? What are they saying? What type of conversations are they having? Is it appropriate conversations? Is it inappropriate conversations? Those are the things that you need to shame them so that they know what is right and what is wrong.
Exactly. And
there's got to be some tough love.
In the process, if I was a parent today of a young child, and first of all, they wouldn't have an iPhone or any kind of phone that has internet access. That would not happen until they were an appropriate age. What's the appropriate age? I don't know. Okay. I haven't done a deep dive in that, but I'm thinking probably 14, 15 would be the earliest that they would have it. But I would also insist that I look at the phone on a weekly basis so that I know exactly what websites they're going to. Who are they chatting with? Who are they texting with? And I would know. And there are certain apps that they would not have on their phone. They wouldn't have WhatsApp. They wouldn't have TikTok. They wouldn't have Snapchat. Some of those things that
right.
The chat can be there and then it can be wiped away immediately. That's not going to happen. Not in my house.
Right.
So folks, I put our email address. If you'd like more information from Ray or myself, Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve at gmail.com. We'd love to hear your opinions, your take, your comments, etc. So please reach out to us.
If you have questions, go to our Facebook page, pose those questions, and Steve and I will answer those questions for you in real time.
And the Facebook page is Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. Kind of a clever idea. I don't know who came up with that idea. So, Ray, we need to go to another commercial break. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Mr. Smarty Pants. We need to go to another commercial break. Let me see if I can find the video. Here we go.
Now your DFW events can be listed on the DFW events segment of OBBM Network News. New episodes posted each week are reaching people right here in your own backyard. Get in on this. Now it's affordable to reach thousands of people in new markets, offering exposure to your professional network like never before. Get us your listing by Tuesday at noon, and you'll be included in the following week's release on Monday. Email info@offbeatbusiness.com for our digital media kit and discover a better way to reach DFW. Not hosting events? Your business will benefit from the exposure our events list generates. Take advantage of brand exposure on the ticker or with the logo graphic, video advertisement, even a QR code. Click on our QR code to access our digital media kit now.
So, Ray, OBBM Network is not just in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They are nationwide. Of course, they are virtual. So if you got some things going on, or if you want to listen to some of the other broadcasts, other podcasts that they have, that would be a great thing. If you want to advertise with OBBM, you can do that as well. So we're excited to be on the OBBM network, and you can find us on all of the major platforms, the Spotify's and iHearts and Apple Radio and so
Rumble,
forth, Apple Podcast, Rumble, yeah. So you can find us all over the place. If you want to get out and reach out to Susan at offbeatbusiness.com. And I know she would love to have a conversation with you. So check out the other programs on OBBM. So, Ray, there are so many more things that we can talk about with this whole scourge of trafficking in general, I don't want to leave it with just what's happening in the United States, but let's look at some other areas of trafficking. And in reality, this is slavery. And we've got a whole, group of people in America that are screaming and howling reparations and slavery and so forth and so on. And they're looking at just one group of people that 150 years ago were dealing with slavery. We haven't had slavery in that sense in 150 years. But
it's been going on in the background forever. This is modern day slavery now.
It is modern day slavery, but there's another type of slavery where some of these young kids are being kidnapped and then taken to foreign countries to work in some of the cobalt and lithium mines in Africa so that we can have our precious electric vehicles.
Right.
And here are kids, 6, 8, 10 years old, mining for cobalt with their bare hands. That is slavery. But yet we don't hear Congress talking about that. We don't hear the Ray Sharptons of the world talking about that, or the Jesse Jacksons talk about any of that stuff. We don't hear about the liberals, the progressives, the communist socialists talking about that sort of thing. So there is slavery going all around us. We wouldn't have electric vehicles today if it wasn't for slavery.
Exactly.
And so what Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel and the others really started pulling the curtain back for us is one small segment of slavery. Just one small segment, and that's the sex trafficking.
That's what I mean. That movie could have done a deeper dive into it, and I wish it would have, but there's only so much information you can put in a movie that would disgust you, and I think they tactfully did that. I hope there's a part 2 to the movie that comes out, where it's the making of the Underground Railroad, how he put it together, and uncovering all of the other ways that people are being trafficked.
Yeah. Ray, I saw a video not too long ago, and it's just one of these real short video reels. And it was a picture of a man, I'm going to say in his late 20s, early 30s, walking through a hallway with a young girl. And the girl is probably 5 or 6 years old. And you could tell that there was something going on. And as the girl was, as these two were walking by, they walked by this other woman who was holding onto a bottle of water. And it just a simple little bottle of water. And the little girl knocked that bottle out of this other woman's hands. So the woman had to bend down to pick up the bottle of water. But then the little girl was grasping her hand going like this.
Right.
Have you seen that before?
Yeah, it's the universal sign, or the news universal sign for help, or I'm being trafficked.
We need to have that. I mean, remember all of the, don't just say no to drugs, or, all of those PSAs that were going. We need to have that as a PSA that the government is doing all over the place, so we know exactly what to do. We're not saying that.
Well, we can find that video and post it on Taboo Talk and post it on all of our social media so that people can be more aware of it.
Your job.
I will find it for you, and we'll get it up there.
Ray, we've talked about so many different things. Frankly, I think that this has just opened up a lot more conversation about the whole world of trafficking and bullying and sex and drugs and so forth. And we need to keep bringing this to people's attention more and more. And I know we're running low on time. In fact, we are way over time. But one last thing, and then we'll sign off. Have you heard anything about some powdery stuff in the White House?
Oh yeah, lots about it, and it's cover up after cover up after cover up. It was found in this room. No, it was found in this room. No, it was found in this room.
Yeah.
The White House has cameras all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up, wake the cluck up.
Yeah, and I'm not making any accusations, but there is a known drug addict, coke addict, as a matter of fact.
I'm sure there's other drug addicts in the White House other than Hunter Biden.
Absolutely. So somebody made a comment recently. They could find the person who this belonged to almost immediately just by simply doing drug tests on everybody that has been in the White House in the past 2 weeks. Real simple. And my understanding is when you're doing coke, it's going to be in your system, and all you have to do is just clip some hair follicles and do an analysis, and the drugs will show up.
Yep.
So and that, frankly, Ray, is why I don't have any hair. So I'm kidding. No, I have never done drugs in my entire life. I have no intentions. So anyway, Ray, we got to close things up. Any final comments?
Do your homework.
Yes.
Talk to your kids.
Yes.
And get the necessary help, whether it's from Steve, myself, or anybody that you trust that can help you. Get your family on the right track or the right direction, so that they don't have to go through the horrors that these kids are going through.
Yeah. And folks, you need to bring Ray in to your school, your church, your group, whatever the case is, especially if you have young children. You need to have Ray come in and do a self-defense or a personal safety program for them. Help them go in the right direction, know what to look for, what the signs are, so that we can protect this most precious thing that we have on our planet, our children. We need to keep them safe. And
Amen.
Ray, I know you can do a lot of good for a lot of people. So, folks, our phones and emails need to be going on full bore to help get this word out. So, anyway, Ray can help prevent, and if it has already happened, I can help get people past some of the junk. So, moms, dads, and the kids as well. So, anyway, Ray, anything else?
Nope, we are good.
All right, man. You be blessed. Have safe travels. Take care, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve. If you have suggestions for topics you would like us to discuss, or you would like to become a sponsor, reach out to us today at tabootalkwithRayandSteve@gmail.com. In the meantime, check out the other amazing programs on OBBM Network on all your favorite podcast platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Join us again for another fun and informative opinion-based episode. This is Taboo Talk with Ray and Steve.